Good afternoon, everyone. All right, thank you for joining us today. So, thank you for joining us today. We're excited to have everyone. We've been doing this event now for the third consecutive year. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're doing today. So, we're going to begin with a keynote presenter from Expedia Media Solutions. This afternoon, we've decided on the topic of technology and the globalization of travel. So it's clear, just looking out in the audience today, that we've got a pretty diverse range of destinations, hoteliers, travel marketers, and if there's one thing that we can all come together and agree on, it's that the idea of big data and the technology to execute against it has really grown over the course of the last 10 years. So what our goal today is to maybe dispel some of the myths against those technology personalization segmentations, maybe talk about some of the new tools, and ultimately debate three key topics that we see impacting the globalization of data. The first of those being around personalization and segmentation, and how do you use big data to activate against technology advancements. One of the interesting debates we've had over the last couple of years is technology taking away the value from travel advisors and travel agents? And will travel start to move toward more of a direct consumer focus? The third topic that we're going to talk about is how digital marketing is becoming pervasive throughout our marketing channels, and whether or not that's changing print, broadcast, and what the role of content is moving forward. So our keynote speaker is going to talk about that, and then following, we're going to have a little bit of a competition. Does everybody have a card with a red side and a blue side on it today? If you don't, we have some staff members here who can hand you those. Those cards are going to be important because you are going to be voting for some presenters today, and we'll get into that a little bit more as we move along. I want to make a quick plug for Just a Drop. Just a Drop is the charitable organization of choice for WTM. If you haven't seen it, Just a Drop has a stand right out in the front in the central hall as you enter through the west entrance. Each year, this group that presents our presentation debate funds a new project for Just a Drop. This year, we're funding a clean water initiative for the village and school of Kuama, Zambia. So I would highly recommend you all stop by the Just a Drop stand and ask about that, because we'll be contributing to really change lives today. So with that, I want to introduce our keynote speaker, and then we'll get into the debates afterwards. So, Hari Nair has been with Expedia Media Solutions for 15 plus years. He's a veteran in the travel and tourism industry and has served multiple roles at Expedia. Today, he's the Senior Vice President of Global Strategy for Expedia Media Solutions, and he's going to talk through this idea of technology and how a technology company like Expedia can show us how technology is leading to the globalization and access of travel across the world. Hari, come on up.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Why, what a delight to be here. Craig, thanks for the introduction. I have to say, you give a lapel to a guy from India and you put him on stage out here in London, you're going to get nothing short of a Bollywood breakout dance. How about that? That's probably what you're going to get. Although my mom would be proud and she'll say, stick to PowerPoint. That's what I've come here to do. I'm here to talk about travel. Travel is fun. Travel is contagious. Travel is energizing. Travel teaches us. Travel just enriches our lives, and it's such a great topic to be speaking about. My name is Hari, and I've been, as Craig said, at Expedia for a long time. When I joined, my hair was certainly not what it looks like here. I played several roles within Expedia. I've managed the lodging and the hotel side of the business, both in the Americas and here in Europe. I moved across to manage one of our leading brands in the United States called Orbitz. And since the beginning of this year, I've moved over to the media solutions side of the business. And my beginnings were a lot more humble in India, in Oberoi Hotels, where I have a foodie blood in him. I'm a food and beverage restaurant manager. So that's where I began. And I feel really fortunate and blessed to be able to share this platform and this audience with you. Now, many of you have probably heard about Expedia. It's a global portfolio of trusted brands that operates all over the world. It's very diverse and it's globally dispersed, and diverse in the sense that we have a lot of customers and customer audiences that engage and interact with us globally. So while you may be familiar with Expedia, you may not be familiar with Media Solutions. And what we really do here is, on one hand, you have about 85 to 90 million customers who engage with us on a global basis, on a monthly basis. And on the other side, you have travel companies, you have destinations, you have suppliers who want to have an engagement with this audience. And it is Media Solutions who really makes that marriage happen. As you can see, globally diverse portfolio, over 200 websites, lots of languages, lots of currencies operating all over the world. I think what is really unique about our position is the fact that we actually have visibility into the entire customer journey across the shopping funnel, from inspiration to research to book. And that's where really the magic happens. And what we do is, customers actually, their patterns and their needs, wants, and expectations are changing pretty rapidly, and it's always been changing pretty rapidly over time. So we actually undertake research projects on a yearly basis to see these evolving patterns, and we feed it right back into our system so that we can come up with products that speak to those needs. And we also use these platforms to actually share it with audiences such as you so that we can all get better together. So what are a couple of things that we are seeing? Well, there is no big aha out here. Travel is going global. But I think what is really interesting in the study that we've seen is people are actually getting very, very comfortable going to far-off places. So just earlier this year, we commissioned a study with about 8,000 respondents from 3 different continents in North America, here in Europe, and in Asia. And we found was something pretty astonishing. And that is, on an average, you have travelers who take about 4 trips a year. And each trip lasts for about 8 days. That's about meaningful amount of time to have a really good, enriching experience to go and discover what this world has got to offer. What we are seeing is over 50% of the travelers are actually going beyond their country's borders to experience the world. So international travel is becoming a part of people's DNA. And over 60% of the people actually have air as their preferred mode of transportation, which is fantastic. People are traveling a lot, they're going beyond their borders, and they're using air, which allows them to get even further. And what it really does is opens up a world of possibilities. I think the 2 words that come to my mind as I think about this is authenticity and adventure. What is clear is people really, really need and are looking for something fresh, something just off the beaten path. In fact, 65% of the customers saying, we are looking for something new, something that I have never done before, I could not have imagined have done before. You have a new concept that is emerging, and that is YOLO. You only live once. And it is fantastic to see that people are actually ready to get outside their comfort zone. This is something that we have seen happen over a period of time, but what we really saw this take off is from the late 1990s, where technology really has put people in charge. When I look at this audience, I can imagine all of us would probably at some point of time have gone to a travel agent back in the 90s or even earlier, and these agents would stare into this green screen, and who knows what they were looking at, but then they would spit out this itinerary for you, hoping that this was the best for you. And with the advent of online travel companies and such in the late 1990s, all that was done was the orientation of the screen was changed to face from the travel agent right to the customer. And the customer was put front and center. So when you're put front and center, you really are in control of all the key processes, and that is around research, comparing, considering, and then finally making a booking that is right for you. Our path to purchase study last year indicated, this is a really interesting fact. Some of you may be very surprised by this, but 45 days leading to the time of booking, an average customer is making about 140 visitations to several websites. 140. 45 days leading to the time of booking. And on an average, they're going to about 13 sites, from online travel companies to destination companies and destination sites to traveler websites, to traveler review sites, and so on. So there's a lot of change that is happening, and there's a lot of content out there. And the idea is, how do you package this content in a way that actually makes a lot of sense? I had a YOLO experience not so long ago, 5 months ago. And in one of my social media feeds that I had, I saw this amazing picture of this magnificent creature, this 800-pound gorilla in Rwanda that really caught my attention. And it was almost like, I have to go and see this. There are only 600 of them alive in this world, deep in the jungles of Central Africa, between Rwanda and Congo and Uganda. It's not the first place that you think of when you wake up in the morning saying, I want to go to Rwanda. But here it was, and it just had to be done. It was one of those YOLO moments that I had. But what was interesting is the fact that what really made the process very interesting from a technology standpoint is I was actually having a live chat with travel agents. Because in a world that, where Rwanda has had a rough history not so long ago, you just wanted to make sure that you're making the right decision from a safety, security standpoint. It's a very hard place to get to. What is it like? And you're not visiting a zoo, you're visiting a jungle. And it was the live chat experiences with the travel agent that made all the difference. So stay tuned, more on this to come. I'm going to show you a never-seen footage, which hopefully you'll enjoy. This is, again, no aha. I think online penetration from a mobile standpoint is at an all-time high, somewhere between 80 and 90%. We see that on the Expedia side. Over 50% of our searches happen on a mobile device. 1 in 3 bookings are actually happening on a mobile device. And if you take a look at Gen Z, that are between 18 to 23, 24-year-olds, they are 4 times more likely to engage and do everything on a mobile device as opposed to a baby boomer. Right? So the challenge out here on the mobile side is not about whether you want to go mobile, well, it's already here, but how do you present data that is engaging, that is informative, that is entertaining, and at the end of the day, it has a call to action, and that is about making a booking. So we had an interesting challenge out here with Visit Britain, right here at home. So one of the challenges that Visit Britain, our partner, came to us is that when you have people who come to Britain, they only come to London. And there is a lot more to Britain than London. How do we have them experience Scotland and Wales and Cornwall and so on and Manchester? How do we do that? So rather than me telling you the story, I'll have the video tell you the story. Take a look at the technology that was implemented. Keep an eye on the top left-hand side of your screen. You're going to see a steering wheel. You're going to see a smartphone gyroscope, and that should tell you a story. Here we go.
Great Britain is one of the most popular destinations for Americans traveling overseas. Yet the vast majority of them only see London and its well-known landmarks. So how could Expedia broaden travelers' experience and inspire them to explore further? By showing that the charm of Britain spreads far beyond the city limits of London. Welcome to Great Britain, an interactive journey presented by not just one quirky tour guide, but 5 proud locals spread across all corners of the country. Users could utilize their phone or tablet's gyroscope to switch between locations at any point to see each guide's version of the story. Pointing the phone north took them north to the Highlands. Turning west took them to Wales, and so on. In each destination, the guide persuaded users not to visit Britain, but rather tongue-in-cheek that they really only needed to visit their corner of the country.
Wales has got the best of everything.
Cornwall's got the best of everything.
Sport.
Fashion.
Fashion.
Nightlife.
Users controlled the journey entirely, seeing an alternate version of the same story, even creating their own.
I even like just riding around.
After the day, thinking about mackerel.
While users were exploring, we gathered live data from the locations they watched most and generated recommendations on what to do and where to stay. From there, booking was only a click away. In the first 6 weeks alone, Expedia bookings, overall sales, and revenue had all increased.
Told ya.
Cornwall, the Highlands.
Wales, Britain is the only place you really need to go.
super, super innovative out here and it really won a lot of accolades in the industry. Let's move on to something different, and that is about imagery. Images are powerful. Images stick in your mind. Images stirs emotions like none other. And in a world where cameras are just getting better, video capabilities are just being enhanced, drones are taking to the sky, you're able to see the world in manner that you have never before. So I want to share with you another example out here, and that is of Hawaii. For those of you who haven't been to Hawaii, it is a land far, far away. But I would tell you, you have to visit Hawaii. The sound and the smell and the culture and the food and the taste and the people, it's all melted into this amazing 5 or 6 islands that is there in Hawaii. So one of the challenges that we have from Hawaii is you have most of the people that are in the western United States that tend to go to Hawaii very, very loyal to the destination. But Hawaii really wanted to reach out to more than just that audience. They really wanted to reach out to other people who would not have considered Hawaii as a place simply because it's just too far away. So one of the things that we did out here, again, the video will speak to it, is we implemented a facial recognition technology. So what that meant was, imagine this. You're sitting in front of your computer, you're watching your video for a span of about 3 minutes. Your camera is enabled, with your permission of course, your camera is enabled, and as you're seeing this video, showing the sights and the sounds and the smells and the colors of Hawaii, your facial expression is captured. And at the end of the 3 minutes, a trip is shown to you that is just right for you, which would be very different from your best friend or your partner or your spouse or whoever. Take a look.
Hawaii is an incredible destination. So incredible that we wanted to inspire travelers to discover their aloha. We developed an innovative digital campaign with groundbreaking technologies, from facial recognition software to drone footage and social media, connecting with travelers in a personalized way. The campaign came to life with an eye-catching microsite. 3 unique journeys were led by animal guides of spiritual significance to Hawaiian culture, representing Hawaii's sky, land, and sea. First, we measured viewers' most positive reactions. Then, we revealed bookable, customized travel tips aligned with one of the 3 animal guides. All users had to do was watch, smile, and enjoy. Accessible in the US, Canada, Japan, Australia, and New Zealand, the campaign produced some impressive results. Its impact continues to grow as we inspire more of our travelers to discover their aloha.
So that was on Discover Your Aloha. I think our industry has just gotten smarter with data, and data is at the heart of everything that we do. And particularly when it comes to personalization, when it comes to customization, really giving unique experiences at an individual level, data is at the heart of it. And on Expedia's standpoint, we've actually changed our philosophy pretty dramatically, where we've moved away and we now operate in a world of test and learn. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is we have customers all over the world on one side, and we have employees that are all over the world on the other side, and we also know that we are not perfect. There's a lot of issues that we have to work through and solve for as an organization. So rather than trying to solve for all the problems of the world, what we really do is break it down into bite chunks. What we do is we make an observation, we create a hypothesis, we create a success criteria, and we just rigorously test and learn until such time that we reach kind of breakthrough. One of the things that the world is moving into is hands-free. This is going to be a really interesting and exciting space. Think about this for a moment. In 3 years, in 2020, 50% of all the searches are actually going to take place on a search device, an audio device. 50%. It really poses some interesting challenges, even for us as an organization, for Expedia. So imagine this, you're coming to London, you're searching for hotels, and you go to a website, any website, and you're looking at an option of 1,000 hotels, and you have the ability to sift through them, to filter them, and so on. What does that look like on a voice device, where you really can't listen to 1,000 options? You don't have the buffet of options. So the content really has got to be very crisp, it's got to be tight, it's got to be contextual, and it's going to be a very exciting, a new world, and a new world of e-commerce. So this is something that we are watching very closely, but we see that the world rapidly moving here. And finally, we have to talk about virtual immersion. We have to talk about tech immersion, we have to talk about virtual reality, augmented reality, and everything else that is following that really, really quickly. The adoption here has been very low. And a large part of that has got to do with costs. It is very costly for a consumer to get access to this device. It's also costly for organizations to adopt this technology. But as we've seen in the world of technology, adoption is only going to lower the cost. So that's just a matter of time. I think there's a general feeling and a myth out there that in a world of virtual reality, people are actually going to stop traveling because you're just going to put your goggles and experience the world. We actually think quite the opposite. We think that those moments are going to stir you to actually want to jump on a plane or get in a car and get to travel. Here is a footage I want to show you of my experience of watching gorillas in Rwanda. So there is this 800-pound gorilla who came within 3 feet of me. Let's take a look. This is deep in the jungles. Yes, I did. Deep in the jungles of Rwanda, in his home, and basically he's trying to tell me a message saying, don't you ever, ever try to mess with me. And that was him. So these are micro moments. It's really, really hard to replicate them on a virtual device. And we hope that people would not wait but to jump on a plane and get to experience, see what the world has got to offer. Finally, just the world of travel is evolving. And I read a very memorable quote a couple of days ago. And it says, we do not travel to escape life. We actually travel so that life does not escape us. So with that, keep in touch with us. There's lots of ways you can keep in touch. But now, onto the real show. So thank you so very much. You bet.
Thanks, Hari. That was great. Okay, so I mentioned to you all when we came out that we're going to have a little bit of a debate. I want to lay down some rules before I introduce our teams out today. So for the last 2 years, we've had a bit of a debate that takes place each year. We call it the MMG Wide Tourism Cup. And each year we feature experts from the Americas and from Europe in travel and tourism marketing. So I'm going to invite our teams up. I want to let you all know that after the first 2 years, the series is tied 1-1. So your votes today are going to decide who earns the right and to claim the victory for the series today. So let's start with Team Americas, who won the championship last year. We'll start with Wendy Olson-Killian from Expedia Media Solutions. We have Kimberly Ziegler-Newberry from QuestX. And Elizabeth Allerton from Afar. Let's hear it for last year's contending Tourism Cup champions. And now this year's contenders from Team Europe, looking to reclaim the cup. We have Luca Ramosi from Sojourn Media, Fernando Ramiro from Amadeus, and Sarah Pastor from Adara. Okay, so the rules are simple. We're going to queue up 3 topics, 3 rounds. Each round is worth a certain amount of points. We're going to ask a member from Team Americas and Team Europe to each give their point of view on that topic. We have not given them rules around one side of the topic or the other. So you may hear some similar opinions in this. So it's up to you to determine who makes the best case. And you'll do so with the piece of paper and the pamphlet that you have in front of you. So you should have 2 sides to your piece of paper. You should have a blue side and a red side. Blue is for a vote for Team Europe. Red is a vote for Team Americas. And there's one more challenge here. Some of these speakers, I've seen them all present. They're all great. They all have a lot to say, and sometimes they have too much to say. So we've limited them to 4 minutes each, and we will be very strict about those 4 minutes and put a clock up on the screen. Everybody's laughing because topic number 1, Luca Ramosi from Sojourn is notorious for over-speaking.
That's not true at all.
So, our first topic, worth 1 point. Have advancements in personalization diminish the importance of brand? Luca?
Go.
You're on the clock.
Done. So, no, it's the opposite. It's actually the brand. They need personalization to effectively reach consumers. because first of all, the consumer wants personalization. 70% of the UK consumers said we want a personalized experience when we engage with our favorite brand. So you need personalization more than the personalization is killing the brand. Second, no one likes to be an average. If we hear it say, hey, well, in average we are 180 centimeters, I'm not happy. So when you do a marketing campaign, it needs to be very personalized. No one wants to be treated as a generic message. So now there are a couple of, even more, of companies, and I can name a few on the Europe side, that can definitely help on the helping the best personalization ever. And the way, there are two main areas that, too many areas and two main tools. There are artificial intelligence and machine learning that definitely they made deep changes on digital marketing. Those techniques will help to personalize. And the use of real-time data, that's what is needed for the magic happens. Because if you think about the data and you just look at the past purchase, what happened before, and you don't use data real-time in that moment when a customer is looking for your destination, or is looking for something else, well, your job is just half wage.
No, you're not.
So, let me tell you something very important. I think there are not anymore someone that dreams, then consider, then book. We live in micro-moments. We dream, consider, then sometimes booking for a friend, then I book an experience, and I go back to dreaming for another destination. Well, it's very, very confusing. If you don't know real time what I'm doing and give me the personalized message, I don't think that I'm gonna trust your brand or anyway happy to engage. So, personalization is important at the brand moment, at the brand level, is important for the performance, and personalization can be seen as how you reach consumers, so advertising, but also think about your website or anyway your own properties. And what is very, very interesting of those new technology is that can help the personalization not only of what you know, so your customers. I mean, it's easy and it's a must to be personalized of people that visit your site. But what is interesting is that when you combine your data with the third-party data and with the travel data, wow, at that point, you can be personalized even with people that don't even know you. And so that's where, of course, the customers will be more keen to understand your brand and consider your brand. This is crucial. So make sure to think about, obviously, brand marketing, think about personalization, and think about Team Europe, because we are here, and it can help in many questions that you might have on this fascinating world. 30 seconds ahead, sorry.
Well done. All right, next up, on the same topic, speaking as a representative of Team Americas, Wendy Olsen-Killian from Expedia Media Solutions.
Thank you, Craig. You can also call me Axl Rose today. This is a banner day for many reasons. One, I agree with Luca. No, brand marketing is not dead. Not from personalization and not from data. So let's first, the second reason is he didn't go along, but nice job. When I think about brand, what is brand? Let's define what that means. It's not just aspiration. It's not just dreaming. Brand marketing goes across the funnel. It could be performance marketing. It could be creative partnerships. It could be anything when we're thinking about it. It's not just driving an awareness. When you think about John Wanamaker's quote, the famous retailer, half of my advertising is wasted. I just don't know what half. The tools and the landscape has changed from that time. But in 2017, marketing is inherently still the same when it comes to brand. So I encourage you to look back before you look forward when you're thinking about brand. Thinking about your overarching strategy. What are your goals? Is it consideration? Is it changing perception? Is it getting first-time travelers or repeat travelers into your market? Who is your customer? What is that target? Thinking about objectives, differentiation. What do you want them to learn and to know about you? Then you need to partner with smart, reliable, and verifiable data to impact that strategy and execute on that strategy in ways about personalization and targeting and making sure these are real people that you're reaching. Fish where the fish are. Think about those travel and tender audiences, such as Expedia Group. What we do with our brand creative, something that's very important to us, and Hari mentioned a little bit of this, we lead by creative and we verify by science. So it is definitely, you need both. You balance the left brain and the right brain. You get in front of the right people with the right message, and you break through that clutter. Brand has a place. It will always have a place. Our new brand creative that you'll start to see, it lives this. It's showing you experiences that you can have in destinations. It ties back to activation and booking, and that's another misconception of brand. It's not just top of funnel. You're going to see this across channels. You're going to see it on TV. You're going to see it in programmatic. You're going to see it in performance media, and you're going to see it in direct buys. That's how we build our media products, because that's how we buy media. That's how we think about brand. And so we think about making that connection between destinations and brands throughout that purchase journey, no matter what it looks like, a funnel, a bumblebee, or anything else. One example, and you guys just saw this with Hawaii Tourism Authority. Their goal in working with us was driving above and beyond the repeat visitors and changing stereotypes that people may have about that destination. Using technology, personalization at mass scale, customization to get to those booking results and to get to that brand awareness. That was a brand campaign that resulted in magnificent types of bookings. So thinking about tying that back is incredibly important. What I will say, it's never been a better time to be a brand marketer. It's very exciting, and brand is not dead.
All right, well done. So a real proof point here in the voting process. You've got two choices, both of similar points of view. So because I don't want to take a lot of heat from our attendees, I've invited a guest up. Destinations International, for those of you that don't know, is a support organization for destination marketing organizations around the globe. They're here today, and Nina is going to help me representing Destinations International to make the vote, quite frankly, because I don't want that pressure on me. So we'll start with Luca. Can I see blue for all the votes for Luca and Sojourn? All right, that's a decent amount of blue. All right, how about Wendy Olsen-Killian, Expedia, Team Americas? I don't know, what do you think?
The red has it.
All right, the red has it, Team Americas gets 1 point. All right.
Are you sorry? Can we second this colorblind?
Stop. All right. Next up, topic 2. Has consumer technology changed the value of travel agents and the travel advisor community? We've upped the ante. This topic is worth 3 points. So to start from Team Americas, Kimberly Ziegler-Newberry.
Okay, thank
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, clock starts.
So changes in preferences for bookings have positioned the travel agency community in a very favorable position as far as we're concerned. Technology is an excellent way for travel agents to co-create authentic experiences with consumers, and we can see that they're embracing it in meaningful ways across all of the different technology platforms that are available today. What's new? Mobile use is up significantly. In the United States, 40% of all bookings in the U.S. are made on a mobile device. I know Hari said about 30%, so his stats may be a little bit better than mine. But somewhere in between 30 and 40% of bookings are made on mobile. That's a technology that travel agents use pretty frequently. We see that mobile use is up to almost 4 hours and 40 minutes in the U.S., so that's a third of your waking life, if you can believe that. Travel agents see that 92% of that time that's spent on mobile is spent on apps. So they live and breathe on Facebook. That's been happening for a very long time. But there are much more sophisticated applications that the travel agency community is using so that they can be relevant and connected to the consumer pre, during, and post the travel experience that they're having. We see great apps like Axis, Vamoose, Travity, UMap, and others that are coming up. And we know that that is working because we can see with a growth of bookings in the U.S. to about $381 billion in 2017, which is up about 5% over last year. And that's a Focusrite study that came out about, 10 months ago, the projections for 2017. About a third of those bookings are actually coming through a traditional travel agent channel. The actual number is 28%. So $106 billion of bookings in the United States are coming through the travel agency channel. So they're doing something very, very right in embracing technology in meaningful ways for the consumer today. One of the reasons that they're so successful is that travel agents are really focusing on something that Matthew Upchurch coined a few years ago called return on life. Looking at the whole consumer, looking at their entire lifetime of travel aspiration. And with the big upsurge in desire for authentic experiences and in life-altering experiences in some cases, the expectation of the consumer has really upped the ante for the travel agent. So embracing technology is incredibly important. As for hands-free, I know we saw a little bit about Alexa earlier. There's a travel agency in the United States called Cruise Planners. I'm watching the time. That recently developed an application with Alexa so that their travel agents can use a hands-free application and ask about bookings and about payments that their consumers have made so that they can respond more quickly and effectively to the consumer questions that they're getting on the day-to-day basis. So embracing that technology has really helped them to grow and to be more relevant and to be more effective for their consumers. We're also seeing some new technology in terms of how agencies are collaborating, how they're configuring themselves, and how they're taking those bookings. We see places like Skylark, Marche, Lola, Essentialist, who have kind of a DIY until you don't want to do it anymore search functionality that really leverages travel agents. So I think elevating experiences that are co-created through sharing information and sharing desires and looking at a long-term traveler's perspective on how they want to travel and what they want to do means that we're positioning the travel agent in a very, very strong position globally, and we see them positioned to grow worldwide. And made it.
Well done. Wow. Well done, Kimberly. Okay, if Kimberly doesn't win your vote, you at least get the prize for maximizing the time best so far with leaving only 10 seconds left on the clock. Well done. Fernando Romero from Amadeus will take the same topic. Fernando, your time starts now.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Kimberly. I think that we are quite aligned in the topic. I would like to split the question in two different angles. It's like how the technology has impacted us as a traveler, right, as a professional, but as travelers, and then how is the evolution of the travel agency, right, linked to that impact in the traveler. I'm in the industry for the last 20 years. I was one of the ones that our friend from Expedia said that see the screen in green, right? But one of the main areas that I would like to emphasize in terms of change is the content. I think that is quite relevant. We are receiving huge amount of content, right? And we cannot discriminate sometimes which is good content and which is bad content. And that's one of the things that IT is allowing us as a democratic, right, traveler that I have access to. Second thing is like personalization. I think that is linked to that is what Luca was saying. Like if we don't personalize, if we don't package this content, it's very complex to take decisions. Third is 24 hours, 365 days. The shop is open, right, every day with the IT. I can wake up in the morning, I can wake up in the night, and I can do a booking. In the past, the things were not like this. And last but not least, I think that is quite important, who is impacting us in order to take a decision. In the years ago was the family and friends, right, and travel agencies. Now we have user-generated content. We have a lot of content that is in the TripAdvisor, for instance, that is impacting us. The images that we were seeing a minute ago around the gorilla that we've seen, right, that motivates us to take a decision. So how is all these things impacting then in the travel agency community, in the traditional travel agency that is still alive? They are doing, as we said here in the US, 30-40% of the total bookings worldwide. Worldwide even more, right? Sorry, in the US, worldwide even more. We are reaching almost 50% of the global bookings. So these guys, the travel agency needs to personalize this. And how they are doing that is specializing. specializing not only in the leisure and business, traditional leisure and business. It's not the same to sell to one family, to a guy that is flying alone, to business traveler, or the people that are flying in couples. The content is quite important, and the technology is allowing them to do that, right? Service, disruptions. Unfortunately, we have suffered in the last months, even years, with Mexico, right? A lot of disruption in our trips. Or even now, my boss called me, I need to be back to Madrid, and I need to change my flight. I think that is to have someone in your back that is helping to you to do all these things, right, with the technology that we provide to them is quite important. And I think that is the message that we need to transmit to everybody, that the travel lines is still there to help us and to support that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Fernando. Nina, you didn't disappear on me, did you? All right, come on back up on stage. So if we have any travel advisors and travel agents in the group, the good news is, according to our experts, travel agents, travel advisors are only going to thrive for technology, and it's not going away. Now, to the vote as who made the point best. Can we see the vote for Team Americas and QuestX? All right. How about Team Europe and Fernando? All right, well, I think this one's pretty obvious. So we got Team Europe gets 3 points to Team America's 1 point. So it all comes down to the final topic. No pressure to our final panelists. Our final topic is digital marketing making print broadcast irrelevant, or is it simply changing the way we're adapting? So we're going to start with Sarah Pastor from Adara and Team Europe. Sarah, come on up.
Good afternoon, everybody. Okay, let's have some fun. Let's imagine a traveler who is planning with her partner a romantic getaway, let's say, to London. So, you know, you're in the morning that you're flying, you're at home, having that much-needed morning coffee, watching the TV, and also packing. And all of a sudden on the TV, there is this TV ad about a beautiful beach destination, but after 1-2 seconds, you switch your attention because you need to finish packaging because the taxi driver is waiting downstairs, and you don't even pick the name of the destination. Anyhow, you get to the airport, you go to your plane, you sit down, and what do you have? The famous airline magazine that we all love. So you start reading it, going through the pages, and you see a sponsored article about London. So great, let's have a look at it and see what experiences we can do this weekend in London. And as you start reading, you realize it's about family experiences in London. And the last thing you want to do in a romantic getaway is to think about kids, right? So anyhow, you get to London, you start walking around, you're in Piccadilly Circus, and you see this billboard of a concert of Britney Spears. And you know, you look at your partner and your partner is so excited, you know, we are going to go and see Britney Spears. But then you have a closer look and you see that concert was last week. And then you have a look at your partner and you know that grumpy mood face and the eyes. And you know the weekend is kaput, over. So either you're a very unlucky traveler or the advertising that you got was not in the right time and it was not the relevant content. Okay, let's do the exercise again. You and your partner, you're planning this romantic getaway, and you're thinking of London, you've searched also Barcelona and Paris, but you cannot decide. So you think, I'm going to sleep on it. You go to bed, and of course, for the last time of the day, you're going to check your Facebook, just in case, you know, your friends have done something new in the last 15 minutes that you haven't checked Facebook. So you're having a look at the newsfeed, and you see this video about a romantic experience in London. You know, it's a sign. Decided, we're going to London. You sleep, the next morning, having that much-needed morning coffee. You're with your laptop, searching flights, and through your way of looking at different prices, different sites, you get this ad of an air sail from your city to London for the day that you were looking. Perfect. You got your flights. Same thing happens with the hotel. So you get to travel to London, you get to London, you either go to the Heathrow Express or the Gatwick Express, either or. And you're texting your family, you got safely to London, and you get this recommendation of downloading an app about the best restaurants in London. So by the time you get to London, you and your partner, you have already searched the best romantic restaurants in London, decided and booked. You start like wandering around London, you're in Piccadilly Circus, enjoying your day, and while checking, for the next stop that you want to do, check your YouTube map and trying to find out how to get there, and you get a pop-up of this concert of Elton John for tonight, and there are still available tickets. So you look at your partner is super excited, and you think, it couldn't get better. You have the best restaurant for a romantic dinner for your anniversary, and you're going to an Elton John concert. And happy wife, happy life. So, so when you're thinking this time about this the digital advertising, it was efficient and effective because you could target the right traveler, the right time, the right channel, and the right content. So if you would about to choose which weekend would you prefer, or which type of campaign and advertising would you do, would it be the miscommunication, Miss Britney Spears, or would you do the relevant and right advertising with Elton John hit? Thank you very much.
Wow, did you practice that? Right on the dot. Not only that, but she's throwing down to Afar, which, by the way, publishes print. So it'll be interesting to see the debate between print and digital. Are you ready, Elizabeth?
Ready.
All right, go.
Hello, everyone. I have a surprise for you. Let's escape just for a moment from all this information overload. I need everyone to close your eyes. Everybody, please, 4 minutes. Now, I want you to picture your very last vacation. I want you to see the vibrant culture around you. Taste that local food. Oh, and the fragrant wine. I want you to hear and feel the unexpected conversations and the warmth that surrounds you. And now think back to planning that trip. How are those first seeds planted to visit that particular destination? What inspired you? If you're like the majority of travel consumers, traditional media influenced your buying decision. You can open your eyes now. I want 3 salient points to be made today. The first one is, traditional does not mean complacency. There is no better medium than print when it comes to engaging storytelling, especially to the affluent, well-traveled audience. Fact. People process print content with greater focus of attention versus the screen format. And the impact? Higher comprehension and recall. And we know firsthand at Afar because we do a AdQ brand recall study with every issue, and of the top 10 performing ads, consistently more than half are tourism boards. Fact. Campaigns that use print and TV improve purchase intent by more than 17%. A multi-platform business model is crucial. At Afar, for our tourism partners, of course we have print, but we have digital, we have experiential, we have social, we have journeys, which is actionable itineraries. We have our trade access as well. Second point, choose your partners wisely. Just weeks ago, ANA CEO Bob Leodice said at a marketing conference, and I quote, just 25% of CMO's digital media investment reaches target audiences. And at the same conference, JP Morgan Chase CMO went on to say, she holds ad tech vendors accountable for perpetuating fraud that plagues the industry. Quote, ad fraud is getting worse, and there are 5,000 ad tech companies that all say we have the answers. At Afar, we just partnered actually with Curiosity. It's a content and data-driven platform for publishers, and it's going to help expose the inequalities of last-click attribution. So finally allowing us to prove the key role that our content plays in moving that traveler from inspiration down the funnel to action. Third point, it still comes down to getting in front of the right audience, the right message, the right time. I was just talking to one of my travel partners, and he said that we don't have a product to sell. We're not an airline that has to fill seats every day on every flight. We need to get in front of the consumer at the early stages with a narrative that excites a traveler with the hidden treasure of their culture. And that's why print will continue to be important for him. Our cover story of Family Cruises the Rhine was so compelling to a reader that they sent us a letter, and I want to read a little bit to you now. Just now read your Afar article. The tapestry you weave serves to give your article weight, gravitas. You provide many tips for sights, smells, and sounds for travelers of all types. You inspire me, a non-cruiser, to check out a European river cruise, and I will likely book a trip with Uniworld thanks to your excellent article. Quality print content inspires the reader and drives that highly qualified lead down the funnel to take action.
Thank you very much. Okay, real quickly before we vote, I want to mention two things. First of all, if you're interested in learning more about these great partners and solution providers or about other travel marketing solutions, you can visit us online at MMGYGlobal.com. I'd also like to make one more plug for you to all make a stop at the Just a Drop stand. Learn more about the project that we're doing in Zambia, as well as all the other great water restoration projects that they're doing across the globe. It's worth the stop to learn at the very least and see how you can help out. Now for the big vote. For all the marbles, for the top series, we will start with Team Europe. Can I get a vote for Team Europe's debate? Oh, that's close. Nina, I hope you're watching this because I'm not making this judgment call. Okay. And the vote for Team Americas and Afar. Do we do one more vote? Okay, one more vote. Team Europe. Team Americas. All right, I would like to say reclaiming the crown this year, Team Europe. Congratulations. And thank you all for coming to our session. We appreciate it and hope to see you again next year.